Hey guys, in the clip you're about to see, I talk about how to handle getting corrections from native speakers when you very first start outputting. So do you even want to get corrections at the very beginning, yes or no? And what types of things specifically do you want to be getting corrections on? Now in the clip, I'm assuming you already know what recasts are, and so I'm going to explain what recasts are real quick in case you don't already know. So basically, within the field of second language acquisition, corrective feedback from native speakers is generally broken up into different categories or types, and the type that I think is most effective for language acquisition is what's known as recasts. So recasts are super simple. It's basically when you're speaking to a native speaker in a foreign language, you make some kind of mistake, whether that's a pronunciation mistake, grammar mistake, vocab mistake, and then the native speaker simply restates what you were trying to say, but fixes your mistake. So for example, if you were learning English, maybe you make a mistake and say something like, oh, tomorrow I go to store. And so the teacher would say, oh, tomorrow you're going to go to the store. And the teacher is just going to restate what you said, but in the correct form. And the teacher is not going to give any grammar explanation or any logical breakdown of why what you said was a mistake or how to make sure you don't make the same mistake in the future. The teacher just says the right version and then moves on with the conversation. And this way, your brain gets exposed to the right form, and it kind of checks a flag in your brain that there was something off about the thing that you said, so that your brain on a subconscious level can pay more attention to that specific thing when you get further input, rather than trying to use a conscious monitor to consciously make sure that you don't make the mistake next time, because that type of learning is very limited. So those are recasts, and without further ado, let's jump into the video.
Matt, I was thinking about starting output soon, and I was wondering what elements you think are the most high value to get recasted on, because pitch is probably just all of my pitch is gonna be wrong, so it's probably not worth it to have them recast everything I say.
I would say that, pitch is still really good, but like have it be only words that you like pronounced it wrong multiple times in like a relatively short period of time. Because like when I listen to foreigners that have like okay pitch, there'll be some words that like 4 out of 5 times they pronounce it correctly, and one time they pronounce it wrong, and it kind of feels like it just kind of slipped out wrong. Whereas those other times are like every single time they pronounce the word wrong. So for those, you want to find those words that are like you pronounce it wrong every single time and get those fixed. And that will be a lot less of the words that, you know, sometimes just, they'll always be like, that's still what happens to me. There's some words that just come out wrong in the moment.
I feel like intuitively, as I begin speaking, like I'm just gonna be awkward. Like my sentence flow is gonna be weird and the structure is gonna be wrong. And maybe it's better to focus on fixing those first. Or maybe it's better to fix everything that's wrong at the same time. I'm not sure.
Well, I think that probably at the beginning, you want to focus on just like having the output come and probably not get too many corrections, because that's probably it's gonna make your monitor act up too much. Like I think at the beginning, you want to just have the language start flowing and like build that connection between the comprehension system and the production system. Like I think that those are like two overlapping but slightly separate parts of your brain, and just through the act of trying to output, though, you build connections between the two of them so that the information like passes more fluidly. So probably at the beginning, I wouldn't try to get any feedback, because I just think of it as like I'm just trying to get things flowing. Things are going to be misfiring and stuff like that. And then once you kind of have like established a baseline of your own output, that's when you want to start getting like recasted. And then, yeah, I think the biggest things is like, probably the way I would do it is like, you probably want to rely on a native speaker intuition. Native speakers have an intuitive kind of like order of priority in what things jump out about being wrong in your speech. Like there's intuitively different levels, right? It's kind of like if you talk to somebody with a foreign accent in English, for the most part, your brain kind of like calibrates to their overall level. And like, let's say that, you know, they're like a German person, and like they have like, I can't do a German accent in English, but like they have a German accent, but overall they have like a pretty stable, you know, like everything just sounds like proper English with a German accent. And then there's one word where they just totally say it with the wrong stress accent, right? Like they're like, you know, the supermarket or something. They say like, I'm going to go to the supermarket or something. Sometimes it will just be one thing that kind of jumps out because it's like extra wrong, even relative to their baseline of having everything be a little bit wrong, you know? And so those are the things you want to get feedback on. And once you fix those, then your whole baseline will raise up to a higher standard, and that will bring to light, that will make other mistakes start to stand out, even though before they kind of fell into the background because there were even more egregious mistakes. So I think it's kind of like, I think if you can find a good teacher, you should be able to kind of trust it to her intuition of like, say that you want to get feedback at, you know, once or twice a minute, and then have her choose the most egregious things to give you feedback on, whether that's a pronunciation thing or a grammar thing or a word usage thing. And I think that that's actually something that natives can do pretty intuitively. Like I feel like I could do it in English, right? Like normally I only feel like correcting people when it's that thing, when it's like, you know, like for an average Japanese person speaking English, if I wanted to, I could give them 3 corrections a second almost if I'm going to try to pinpoint every little thing about the pronunciation that's not native. But it's kind of more like what will actually they be able to handle in a certain moment, and what's the most going to have the the highest like yield in terms of improving how they sound by changing it.